it's me, Tony. Come inside of me. Ask me anything Monday. Ask with two S's because of the word ass. How do I come up with this stuff? Am I a genius? Probably. I'm a genius when it comes to infusing genitals slash butts into different descriptives when it comes to my work. Um, how do I come up with this stuff? P.S. I'm going to start a course, and that course is going to be called uh, Relieving Creative Constipation. And it's going to be on sale soon, probably in the next month. But I think it's going to be a good one. And it's going to be important because you know what? With all the holidays that will be coming up eventually, I think you should give people the gift of me. I think you should give them the gift of my somatic sessions. You should give them the gift of my creative coaching. And you should give them the gift of my course. How to relieve yourself from creative constipation. Something like that. I'm sure somehow diarrhea will make it into my comedy until I'm old and gray and on my deathbed. Hopefully, having diarrhea, I'll be making diarrhea jokes. Why is that? I remember once I was about to do a comedy show, and this woman comes up to me and she said, she's like, I've never been to a comedy show. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm so honored to be your first. And then she said, why are female comedians so crass? That is what she said to me about like 1 minute before I went on stage. And I said to her, well, buckle up, bitch, because you're about to see a 15-minute set on my period. To which I had a little laugh, and maybe she did as well. It's what came out of my mouth. The reason why I said this to her was like, also, what the fuck? And I was about to talk about my period for 15 minutes, and it's probably one of my favorite bits, and it was actually the birth of it. It was the first time I ever did that bit. It's maybe even 20 minutes at this point. It's quite the bit. Long story long. Oh, I'm looking out the window and I see a bald eagle flying over me. That's an affirmation about me and my crassness. The reason why I thought this was kind of a strange question is that, like, there are many crass male comedians. There are just comedians who are crass, and there are comedians who are clean. So I don't know. And also, I think part of the rebellion of being a woman who like talks about her body or talks about sex or talks about masturbating or talks about diarrhea is to normalize the humanity of women and to be like, yeah, you know, the men that have been talking about their dicks and making monuments about their dicks for not only centuries, millennia. There's been dick monuments. Guess what? A girl can talk about her fallopian tubes. Did you know that? A girl can make a monument based on her clitoral hood if she wanted. I think I just spit. Hold on. I don't stand by the fact that that just happened. I mean, if I had an editor, I'd probably figure out a way to edit that out, but I cannot because I cannot figure out, I absolutely know how to do it. I can't find the time to edit out me hawking up a loogie and spitting. And if you want me to find the time to do that, well, why don't you support my Patreon? How do I come up with these marketing schemes? Hey, if you don't want me to hawk loogies in the midst of my podcast, support the Patreon, and then maybe I'll eventually be able to pay someone to edit this shit. Not that I couldn't do it, but I just emotionally can't edit it. I emotionally cannot edit this podcast. Oh, should I find all the ums for you and the loogie hawking and the gagging and edit it out? Absolutely not. I don't get paid enough to do that yet. No. But if you would like for me to not have bodily functions amidst while I'm talking about the importance of bodily functions and them coming up in my comedy, then please support the Patreon. Also come to my shows, also come to my somatic sessions, and then also book some sessions. I better not be getting sick. I have shows coming up. All right, I'm going to sip some of my Tony's Butt Mud coffee. Hold on. Still trying to decide on the brand, but I call it butt mud to myself when I'm alone talking to you. All right, ask me anything. I forgot what was even happening. I got to open up my email. So you know I don't read these before I read them. And I also have truly 10,000 email accounts, so that is a little confusing. Okay, I think I found it. Okay. All right, here we go. I did find it. Oh, God, okay. I want to know who I am. I'm not sure I know what makes me click or who I am outside of wife, mom, and grandma. Lots of trauma, some inflicted. Some self-inflicted. I allowed. That's what she meant to say. Let's read this one again. I want to know who I am. I am not sure I know what makes me click or who I am outside of wife, mother, and grandma. Lots of trauma, some self-inflicted. In parentheses, I allowed. Oh my. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this idea of knowing who you are. No one knows who they fucking are. Absolutely motherfucking no one. And if someone's going around being like, I know myself so well, they're a fucking liar pants on fire. We go through life getting to know oneself, and then as you're dying, you're still like, wait, why did I do that? No, the expectation that we're supposed to know ourselves completely is caca. It is a big caca ball that is hard and is coming out of you in a way that causes a plug. And that caca ball plug is the expectation that you're supposed to be self-actualized and self-realized. No, that's not how it works. Even enlightenment, I used to think enlightenment meant like, oh, like you get enlightened and then you're just perfect and content for the rest of your life. And like you operate through the world in complete perfection. No, enlightenment is a moment. It is an orgasmic moment of total understanding, but it is not a consistent state of being that then follows you for the rest of your life. It's not something you achieve. It's not like a level you get to and then the rest of your life is living in that level. It's an awareness. It's a flash of insight. It's a moment, but it's never something that is consistently integrated in one's life, right? Like you can take the wisdom of that enlightened moment and then you bring it into your life, and I'm sure you level up. You level the fuck up, but you don't go around in like a state of perfection. You get what I'm saying here? So number one, you want to know who you are. Me too. Me too. We all do. That is what's called the pursuit of your human consciousness, right? It's like, I love that quote, the universe is just the manifestation of the universe trying to understand itself because we're all made of stardust. I'm not saying it correct, and I know it came from Carl Sagan, and maybe he said it better than me, and maybe he said it motherfucking worse. I don't know, but I'm going to credit him with the idea that we come from stardust, and if we're coming from, we don't come inside, we come from. See, look what I did there, me and my crass comedian. Wait, there's another. Look, if you want me to edit these out, support the Patreon. I don't know what to tell you. But this is like a horrible ASMR. I need to market this podcast as the anti-ASMR. It's like, do you want to have some auditory assault? Well, then listen to this fucking podcast, because you won't even know when it's about to happen. I'm barely warning you. I think it's just the weather shifting, all right? I'm going to go with that because I have some performances this week. Boston, 9/11. So what am I saying? Oh, Carl Sagan, right. So we come... Oh, man. Come is funny. We come from stardust. We all know that. The compounds of the innards of stars exploded, or they imploded, and then that stardust fell to the earth, and that carbon and that nitrogen is the building blocks of life. So without the imploding stardust falling to the earth, we would not have life as we know it. So our connection to the stars comes from these imploding stars, all right? So the human consciousness is the physical embodiment of the universe trying to understand itself through the limited consciousness of the human experience, right? It's like you limit yourself in order to have a deeper understanding. So I guess step number one is like accept the fact that it is very not only reasonable, not only normal, but it's an unsustainable urge to know who you are because it is insatiable, right? And then in that insatiableness has to come acceptance that you're going to have to keep yearning to know this. And it's not that you're ever going to, oh, I know myself completely. No, it's the process of wanting to get to know yourself that is the point of life. The only point of life that I can think of is the acceptance of the endless journey of forever self-reflection and recognizing that, like, oh, yes, everything that happens to me is part of my programming and it's part of my past lives. I mean, you're gonna throw in past lives in this shit? We're never gonna untangle this mess. Hello. Wait, did I tell you my past life story? I'm gonna tell it to you really quick. I did make a video about it, so if you watch my videos, it may be a repeat, but like you don't all see all my videos either. But basically what happened is I went and I got this healing, and in the healing it was like a hypnosis, and I thought we were going to just do hypnosis about my own life. I got enough going on in this life. And then suddenly the healer was like, hey, where, like, I like do a meditation and I get into a cloud, right? And I'm in the cloud, and then it's like, where is the cloud taking you? Turns out the cloud was taking me to medieval Europe. And I was like, what the fuck? What am I doing in medieval Europe? Okay, I'm not like, I don't study medieval Europe. I'm not like a big fantasy girl where like things are taking place in medieval Europe. I'm not even that into Shakespeare, which I don't even know was happening in medieval times. I think so. And also don't even know when medieval times were. I mean, I'm guessing like the 1200s. Yeah, just like not my bag. So I'm like, what the fuck am I doing in medieval Europe? Okay. I think it was like the 1300s, to be honest. And I'm in the midst of like a pillaging. These men are on horsebacks and they're just pillaging the town. And I'm just there, just witnessing a massive pillaging. And I'm like, oh dear. And then the healer's like, can you see your feet? I have no shoes on. Turns out I'm a young boy. I don't have anything in my hands. She's like, is your home near? And I'm like, I actually don't even have a home. So I'm just a young, homeless wench boy. I don't even, wench seems like it's a female thing. I'm just a homeless boy, a medieval homeless boy with no shoes in the midst of a pillaging. And then someone on horseback stabs me. Okay, thank you. Thank you for spearing me, sir. Rude. So I get speared, and then she has me get back into the cloud to see what the next big event is, and it's my own birth. And I'm like, I see my mom, she's like in the bed at the hospital chilling, and my dad's like reading or something. My dad probably was reading, and my mom probably was just like chilling. So I see them, and I'm like, oh, I'm at my birth. And she was like, oh no, we don't want to be here. Get back in that cloud. Let's go back to the medieval times. We go back to the medieval pillaging. So then, you know, she's like, where does it hurt? And I'm like, my solar plexus, probably where I was stabbed, woman. So she's like working on my solar plexus, which is obviously connected to my spine. If you know me at all, you know I'm always going on and on about my spine and my back. So then as she's doing this healing and like, like doing all her stuff, someone comes to mind. My boyfriend, who was my drug graper, he drugged me and he raped me. I can't prove that he drugged me, okay? But I know he drugged me, you know, because I was passed out, and I've never passed out in my entire life because I am or was a professional alcoholic. I started drinking at 11, y'all. Never passed out, never blacked out, never once blacked out. I had a drink, we got into a fight, blacked out, do not remember the night. So pretty sure this dude drugged me. Like, he's also drugged other women, I found out later. So let's just believe me, okay? If we're gonna believe Epstein women, we're gonna believe me that he drugged me and raped me. So this boyfriend, this guy was coming up, and I was like, that's weird, what's he doing here? And then I realized this motherfucker was the guy on the horse who stabbed me. Hello. So he stabs me, and then he comes back in this life to grape me and drug me. I almost said grubbed me. He did. I think when you're graped and drugged, you're grubbed. He grubbed me. He stabbed me in another life as my young homeless boy life, just ruined that life for me, and then comes into this life and does that. Like, who does that? Who traverses through time and space in the astral plane to go around wreaking havoc in another person's life? Answer me that, sir. So, long story long is that, like, I didn't even know he was passing through lifetimes to get at me. P.S. I genuinely do think that was the last time I was alive. Like, I think, so basically what my healer said is, like, between lives, you kind of like go back into the cloud and you're like repaired by like all these like loving energies and stuff. And so the fact that like when I came out of it, I'm like, well, it was kind of weird that like I went from the Middle Ages to the 80s, you know, like what's happening there? And I was like, she was like, well, you know, like the soul like repairs. And I was like, so I just like did not come back to Earth for 600 years. And she's like, well, maybe you did. It's just like you don't have any like memory of that. And I'm like, feels like more on brand for me to just like get murdered and then be in a cloud for 600 years processing that shit. So the reason why I bring that up is it took me 600 years to process my murder as a young homeless medieval boy, okay? So how are we going to understand ourselves in one life? Get what I'm saying? Okay. I'm not sure what makes me click or who I am back to the email. I'm not sure what makes me click or who I am outside of wife, mom, and grandma. Okay, so this is, I think, the most important part of this email, because what she's asking is about the like being defined by the roles that you play for others versus who you really are or what your actual desires are. So I remember personally being in my 20s, I had always had a boyfriend, yo. I always had some guy being like, hey, Tony, where are you going? What are you doing? And then I would cheat on him and have another guy. Where are you going? The amount of guys asked me where I was going, and I was like, well, I'm going to another guy's house, my dude. Lying. I'm not proud of this. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? So, anyway, oh God, I'm sorry. I think that was the last one. All right, I think that was the last one. Support the Patreon if you don't want this happening to you. So anyway, what I'm trying to say to you is that I would always have these men tethering me, asking me where I was going, and then I'd have to feel bad, you know, what do you want to do? Well, let me help you. And then of course you had like the parents' expectations. I don't know if my parents expected anything from me, to be honest, except for me to shut the fuck up. Well, they're nice people, but they weren't like too involved. And then what else was happening? It was like the parental expectation. I mean, I know it had an impact. I'm just like trying to untangle it at this here now moment. But it really was like these men were a little louder because they were the ones in my face always, and boys, you know, because I was like, this is teens into 20s. Point being, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I only know what like these guys wanted me to do. Do you get what I'm saying? And it took me a really long time to be like, wait, what do I want to do? And the role of like having these guys in my life as these like ball and chains, literally to like chain me to them, it, I guess, tethered me in a certain sense. So I didn't like float off into space, or it enslaved me. It depends on how you want to look at it. But I had a really hard time wondering who the fuck I was. Also, I guess with my parents, now that if we're going to be honest about it, it was the people pleasing, right? So the like, wait, what do you want me to say? You know, what would you like me to say? Why don't you write it down and I'll just repeat it to you? That was also my experience at school, by the way. It's like all these teachers just wanted you to regurgitate their ideas back to them. Anytime I had my own ideas, the teachers were like, yeah. But if I didn't read the book and just took notes on what they said and was like, here's what you said about the book, they'd be like A-, you know? Otherwise I was B+ city or something, or B. Ugh. But what was happening? What was happening is that I didn't know what I wanted because I always had these motherfucking guys telling me what to want, and then the people pleasing. So the roles that she is talking about: wife, how is she showing up for her husband? Mom, how is she showing up for her kids? Grandma, how is she showing up for her grandkids? This woman has defined herself specifically in what she's offering others versus what do you offer you? What are you offering you, woman? That's what you need to unpack. And the reason why you've been so just like boxed into these roles is because it served all the people that you were helping. They're not going to be like, hey, I love that you're doing everything for me. This like works for me in the best way. And like, you're probably an amazing caregiver and nurturer and like super kind. And I'm sure you're like a dope ass energy. Like, none of these people are going to be like, why don't you focus on you? Because they love it. They're addicted to your love. They're addicted to your nurturing. They're addicted to your acceptance. I'm sure they have a home in your arms. These grandkids must love the fuck out of you. Your children can rely on you because they're sending their grandkids, their children to you. You have a relationship with your grandkids. So like, you've done it. You've done the thing for others. And I think what's the like the feeling of emptiness that you think like you want to know who you are. You want to know what you want. That's what you want to know. You know who you are. Because you know how I went on and on and on about how we're never going to know who we are? We, of course, know who we are. Of course we do. We know it deeply. So it's like, yeah, we're seeking it. But yeah, there is like a deep internal knowing. But like, you got to figure out what you want. And it is not too late to figure out what you want. I don't care how old you are. I mean, grandma, you could be a young grandma. You could, but I don't even believe in age. You all know I don't believe in age. I definitely do not. So I think connecting to you what you want and what you desire is going to come from you untangling how is, well, if I want to go to Costa Rica, what's everyone gonna say? Then I won't be here for what? Just go to Costa Rica. Go to Costa Rica. It's okay. People are going to survive without you. I think the biggest thing, I've also felt this, like, well, I can't leave. People need me. Guess what? You're doing them a great favor by not having access to you all the time. What a gift for them to rely on themselves or rely on other people or to be more self-sufficient. You're actually being there for them in a more sustainable, healthy way by not always being there for them. I hope that motivates you. Go to Costa Rica. Go travel. Don't always be there for everyone because you've done it. What do you want? Let them be there for you. That actually will feel really good for them. Don't wait until you're sick to let them be there for you because they're not going to know how. They got to practice now. Let people be there for you because then you're giving them the opportunity to feel good about themselves because they're like, I'm such a good daughter or son to my mom, or I'm such a good husband to my wife, or I'm such a good grandchild, because you let them be there for you. You're actually empowering them and helping their self-esteem by having greater expectations of them to be there for you. Okay, lots of trauma, relatable content. Obviously, you're saying that because there is some undigested emotions around the trauma that was inflicted upon you. I don't like that you say some self-inflicted. I like that you say it because you're trying to take personal accountability and responsibility, but let me be the one to tell you, no. Okay, just no. Where you can ask yourself is, why did I allow myself to be treated in this way? Probably because your parents didn't protect you. That's why. So you didn't know you had to protect yourself because you don't have a great protector. That's why people allow themselves to be treated in that way. So I'm not blaming you. Please don't blame yourself. I don't think you allowed anything to happen to you. You were brainwashed to the point of having low self-esteem where you thought whatever abuse or trauma happened to you, you secretly felt like you deserved. That's not your fault. No, that's your parents' fault and that's society's fault. I like that you're trying to take personal accountability, but I also, because you're trying to take personal accountability, I'm going to say don't do it. Because if you were the type of person that refused to take personal accountability, I would say, well, let's look at your personal accountability in this, shall we? But because you already doing it, don't do it. You're already going to do it. You don't need to be doing it because it's going to happen naturally. Yeah. And I think the thing about like, why is it so important to go after what we want? It's because we're not just here to serve others. We're here to partly serve others, but we're also here to receive service, because I go back to the fact that receiving service is actually a gift to the other person. Don't you know the feeling of giving a present? Receiving a present is cool, but giving a present actually does feel better, especially when you give a bomb ass present and that person is like mad excited and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I love it. That feels better than like getting something. We all actually intuitively know this. Even if you're like, my love language is receiving Louis Vuitton. I mean, like, okay, I guess, but also like, have you ever given someone something that like made them genuinely full of joy? Because that is way more orgasmic than receiving an object. So I think the purpose of existence is like not just loving, but allowing people to love you, because that is actually the bigger gift, allowing people to give to you and love you and care for you, because that's what's going to build their sense of self. When you're just a selfish fuck that just takes from someone, and then, oh no, mommy is dying or my wife is dying and I never did anything for her, the level of regret those people are gonna feel, they're gonna feel like shit. They're gonna feel bad. So let them do things for you now in life, so as you die, they can be like, oh, I'm so glad I was there for her because she was there for me. And the relationship felt reciprocal. And when things feel reciprocal, that's actually the energy we need in life. We need reciprocity. Reciprocity is good. That's why I'm always talking about consent and all this stuff and how it's actually more fun. Sex is more fun when both people want it. Reciprocity is where a relationship is at. When a relationship is one-sided, it is boring, boring, boring. Trust me, I've been in many one-sided relationships and I'm bored to tears around these people. I'm not doing them any favors because I'm bored as fuck. So sometimes I just insist that I start talking because I'm like, geez Louise, I've heard enough about you. You know what I'm saying? And then what a gift I'm giving them to hear about me instead. All right, I hope this was helpful. I have a lot of love for this person because they just seem kind, you know, just a kind person. But let's let this be a lesson. Do not just be a role in life. Don't just be a role to others, because you will resent. You will feel resentment city. And then that will make you feel yuck, yuck, yuck. And also the trauma stuff, lots of trauma. I know trauma is a buzzword, and I think that because we say it so often, we kind of can minimize it, right? And then we like compare our traumas. Like, well, is my trauma like a genocidal trauma, or is my trauma that like my mom kind of took too many naps when I was young and like ignored me? I mean, there is a huge spectrum of trauma, but trauma is trauma. And also, we were built to heal from trauma. Like, we are adaptable beings. The whole point of, I think I've talked about this before, it's survival of the adaptable. The fittest means adaptable. So it is within us to heal. And healing isn't, it's not like it's ever fully achieved, but it also is, you know. It's like it is and it isn't. And I think that like the dance and the choreography of being like, well, yeah, I may have healed from this, but then like, oops, and now this is happening to heal from. And like, oh, now this feels better, but oops, this happens. Like, if life keeps happening, you're gonna keep having things to address, you know. Like, more money, more problems is a great quote. Who said that? Was it in a More Money, More Problems? It's a rap song. And I'm forgetting who rapped this. More money, more problems. But is it Jay-Z? Jay-Z's a very problematic man. Or is it Biggie? All right, I have to look it up. But you know what I'm saying. It's like, just because you have more success doesn't mean you're not going to have problems. You're actually going to have more problems. They'll just be different problems, you know? So we can't just look for a life without problems. What we want to do is look for a life where we are better equipped to handle our problems, and we don't let our problems eat us alive. You know, we don't let them overtake us, and we don't let them consume us. All right, I hope this was helpful to you. Come see my shows and support the Patreon. And, share the podcast. Do you like this podcast? Share it. Tell your friends. Do it on the social media. Tag me, tag me, tag. Oh, y'all, my merch is coming. My merch is coming. I've made merch. I have made merch and it's pretty good and it's gonna come out this week. I probably won't be here Wednesday because I'm performing Thursday with my girl Serafina Supernova. Do you follow her on the social grams? We're doing Grape Culture in Boston 9/11, so I don't know. She's gonna be here, and we have to like rehearse. We don't know the show anymore. We have to like get it back in our brains. So I'll probably see you Friday. So know that I'm actually not playing intentionally hard to get on Wednesday. I am just trying to remember my show. And remember to, if you know people in Boston, tell them to come. If you know people in Philly, tell them to come. You know I'm coming to Seattle and Portland, even though I haven't given you all those ticket links yet. These secret ticket links. The venue's got to give them to me, y'all. Okay. I love you. Bye. Bye. Bye.